What is this, my friend? You have summoned me, Doctor Scapula. Oh, that is all. You wish to speak to the dead. Hello, my friend. How have you been doing? How has life been treating you, my young nuncio? Well, I should guess. I sense that you have become one of the most powerful necromancers in all the world. Yes, you do have your own island now. You took my advice. I am touched that you would think of me. And now that is perfect for your zombie horde to do all of your farming and menial labor and guard duty for you without the prying eyes. So tell me, how has changing your face been working for you? You have been using it to your advantage, have you not? That is how you've had all of this money to buy this beautiful island. But I sense you are looking for something more. You have the ability to raise the recently dead. You have the power to animate the corpse and create the zombie or the vampire. And you have the ability to take on the faces of the dead. But you know there is much power in the dead, and you want to access them. You want to speak to those who have passed through the veil. Doctor Scapula can give you this power. It is, of course, our bargain. Merely the tiniest fragment of your soul, and I will give you the power to speak to the dead. Now, let me tell you how it would work. I am sure it will come as no surprise to you that in order to speak to the dead, you will need something of theirs, preferably a body part. A skull is the classic. It is where the mind resided, and you will have the best luck. Think of it as a tuning fork to the beyond. But any piece of them is helpful. Finger bones are quite common. I saw someone speak to Socrates using his foot. But enough of that. You can even use something that they once owned. But the more intimate the object is, the better luck you will have. If it is a cane that the man carried with him all the days of his elderly life, if it is a locket that was special to a young woman, if it is a coin that a man carried in his pocket for luck all through his life, you see what I mean. You can try with a random scrap of their clothing. You might get lucky, but it becomes increasingly difficult. So, if you can, start with the skull. As I've told you before, that is what your zombie horde is for, to do the digging for you. Now, what is it that you want? Think. What would you ask now that all of creation is before you? Think carefully. You might not like some of the answers. You might find Napoleon's skull and find that all of history around that time was wrong. You might find your grandfather's skull and find that he was cruel and wicked to your father. The dead tend not to lie. I will not tell you that they will never lie, nor will I tell you that they will not try to deceive you. The dead still have the personality from before. If they were cruel and wicked before, you will summon a cruel and wicked spirit. In general, it is easier to summon the evil, the ghastly, the cruel. They are easier to summon. Let us say the place that they are, a place very familiar to Doctor Scapula, is not as far from where you are. Now, that is not saying that you cannot call upon a saint, that you cannot reach out beyond the veil and speak to the holiest of good people. But it is more difficult. But think of what you can learn. Think of from a historical perspective. Do you want to know what the day in the life was like for a Roman soldier? Do you want to know what it was like in ancient China for a young monk to learn the ways of Kung Fu? Think of it. Think of all that you can learn. And any body part could potentially speak to you. But most likely, the reason you have called me is that you have very special someone that you are thinking of. Yes, I thought so. You are thinking of someone who has died, who has left you with questions, have they not? I understand. All you have to do is dig up their grave, bring their skull, and ask it the questions. Now, this is what you must know. The longer you ask them questions, think of an electrical device getting hotter and hotter. The more questions you ask them, the harder it will be to keep the connection. And finally, it will fry, and you will no longer be able to summon that spirit. So, prepare your questions ahead of time. Do not ask meaningless things. Ask them what you really want to know first, because you never know how many questions you might have. An intact skull from a wicked criminal, you might have 50 questions that you can answer. From a saintly woman with nothing but an old dress that she owned, you may only get one or two or none. So pick them carefully. But I think you have not seen one of the biggest powers of speaking to the dead, and that is how you can influence the living. Do you want to control a senator? Why not speak to his dead wife? Why not ask his dead father what his childhood was like? Ask his greatest fears. Ask his greatest secrets. They will tell you. You can find out what their childhood fears were. You can find out if they killed someone and have hidden the secret. And of course, you can always ask someone who was murdered, who murdered them. If you want to be a hero and reveal who it was, especially if it means destroying your enemies. As you might guess, some of your enemies are fellow necromancers who may have killed quite a few people. but they may not have disposed of the bodies as carefully as you have. And if you can lead the police to their spots, well, it is hard to do necromancy from behind bars, is it not? Think of the power that you will have. All of the dead are at your command. Ask your questions. Get your answers. All you must do is touch the skull and speak, and they will answer. What did you ask them? That's fair. Where you left your keys. Not a bad question to ask the dead. What? Just kidding. If you would like to ask more questions, subscribe to Roleplay Riot and perhaps watch another one of my videos.